Welcome back to Movies at 2 a.m., the show where we discuss B movies, bad movies, low-budget movies, box office bombs, critical disappointments, and all manner of obscure film. I'm your host, Bryce Huffman, and I am joined by the homie, Arrielle Mock, today in the studio. Say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's up?
She's a visual artist here in Detroit, but she does so many more things than that. Just quickly, tell the people what you're all about.
Okay, let's see. I am a visual artist, an arts educator, community activist. A lot of the art that I do is centered around like the violence, identity, and mental illness in Black, brown, and queer communities. So I guess everything falls under that umbrella, everything that I do.
Right. Yeah, see, I have an impressive guest on. Someone who's just showing me up in all areas of life. I like it. And today, oh man, we got a funny, probably not supposed to be funny movie.
Yes, but it was fucking hilarious.
Yes, the 2002 crime drama Shottas. And before we get into the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, if you haven't seen Shottas, spoiler warning, but I'll be honest, it's a crime movie. A lot of people get shot.
Naturally.
So one thing that we like to do here is read off the IMDb synopsis. Then me and my co-host, who is not here, we go back and forth with our own synopsis and try to figure out who's got the best one. So I'm going to read the one that they have here on IMDb. Wayne and Biggs grow up together on the tough and dangerous streets of Kingston, Jamaica. Eventually moving to Miami, they begin a ruthless climb to the top of a criminal enterprise as they aggressively take control of the Jamaican mob. That's kind of accurate, I would say.
Kind of, yeah.
It's longer than a lot of the synopses that we've done on the show. That's the crazy part. Like, we did Black Dynamite, and it was like 2 sentences for him.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Yeah, and we did one for Head of State, and it was just like a black guy runs for president. It was just like super short, bland.
I feel like there's so much more you could say about that. But you know what? You're right, actually. I never noticed how long it is for the type of movie that it is.
Right? like the synopsis is really like, look, we're going to explain exactly what this movie is to you and give you nothing less, nothing more.
Period.
So the one I wrote, imagine if the critically acclaimed movie City of God, the one about the hoods in the Brazilian favelas, was instead set in Kingston, Jamaica, had a ton of influence from the movie Belly, had less quality acting, directing, writing, cinematography, and somehow still worked out to be very entertaining. That's exactly what director, writer, and producer Cesc Silveira did with Shottas.
I think that yours is way more accurate.
Yeah,
I think you have to mention all of that.
Yeah, because the crazy thing is I started watching it, and shout out to Irving. He's the one who put it on our list of movies to watch. He loves this movie. He has talked about it for years, and I have never seen it. But seeing that it came out in 2002, I was automatically going to compare it to City of God. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't. But when you said that it was given Belly, I literally wrote that in my notes. Belly, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society for sure. Yeah,
like it was a movie that like really took a lot of influence from Belly. It has some of the same actors in it. Blinking on, now I got to just look at it before Louis Rankin. I don't know why I was forgetting his name.
See, I wasn't familiar with most of these actors, but I'll save my critique on that for later. But
well, you were like, there's too many reggaeton artists trying to play gangster.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I know a couple of y'all from music, respect y'all from music, but not from this.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing that I think shocked me the most. Like when I watched, I was like, oh, I recognize some of these people. I just never knew they had been in any movies.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so this, like I said before, it was directed by Cesc Silveira. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
You are. He only has like 2 other movies that I think I've heard of. I know it was GED was one of them. Mm-hmm. Never seen either one of them though.
I had seen GED actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's not that good.
Okay, well, falls in line with how I feel. Like
right? Yeah, he almost comes off as someone who really should just be a music video director, and maybe that is what he does full time. But I couldn't find a lot about him online.
Me neither. It literally just says Cesc Silveira is known for Shottas, GED, and Overtown. That's the other one that I hadn't seen.
Yeah, I'd never seen Overtown.
Yeah, I went through like his whole filmography, and I'm like, I don't recognize none of this shit. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, it's a low budget movie. I didn't realize this until I just started looking up stuff for the movie. They made it in 2002, or it was supposed to. Its initial release was 2002. And it became a classic because someone just bootlegged a copy of it. So people, like it was like a hood classic long before it got officially distributed in 2006.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, very crazy. But yeah, let's get into what this movie is all about. There's a couple things here that shocked me a little bit. First was that critics, well, it didn't shock me that critics didn't like it. What shocked me is just how low its Rotten Tomatoes score was. Guess what the score was.
I'm gonna give it about 40%. That's my Rotten Tomatoes score. Maybe about
I'm gonna give you one more guess. Go lower.
Go lower?
Yes, I'm gonna give you one more guess.
I ain't never seen nothing lower than 30, so I'm gonna say 30.
Oof. Never seen lower than 30? Ooh, this movie's going to disappoint you then.
God damn. Okay.
Yeah, this movie's budget. This movie's Rotten Tomatoes scores. See, I'm getting ahead of myself. This movie's Rotten Tomatoes score 17%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not totally surprised, but I am kind of surprised.
Yeah. The thing I was going to say about the budget, I could not find what this movie's budget was or what it did. I guess maybe not box office, because I'm pretty sure it was a straight-to-video release. But,
right. No, I looked that up too. Actually, I couldn't find it. And this is like the least amount of info, aside from the synopsis, the least amount of info that I've seen on IMDb. Usually,
right, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of them don't even have pictures for the cast, anything.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like that comes with the territory with hood movies sometimes. Like you're getting people who aren't professional actors, a lot of them. Some of the people in here are real actors. You're getting people who don't really act. You're getting people who, you know, clearly the cinematographer is a real cinematographer. Clearly, you know, the sound people are real sound people, stuff like that. But the people you actually see on screen, a lot of them aren't movie stars and were never really trying to be movie stars. There's a few folks who are fairly famous in
Jamaica.
Yeah. Paul Campbell is probably the most famous one. Like I had seen him in other stuff, so like, you know, it's just a movie it's really a hood movie. And I fuck with the fact that they just went and made this movie.
What did you see Paul Campbell in, out of curiosity? Because I only seen him in First Sunday with Tracy Morgan and Cat Williamson.
Oh, yeah, he is in that.
Yeah, that's all I remember him from. I ain't gonna lie.
I had seen him in a few other things that I'm blanking on at the moment. But I when I saw him on screen, I recognized, oh, okay, I've seen this guy before. Same with Louis Rankin.
Yeah, I had to look him up.
He was in Belly. And we had just done Belly, so it's like I immediately recognized the name when it popped up in the credits.
Gotcha.
I didn't know he was in this movie before that. I also didn't know that Kimani Marley, I think that's how his name is pronounced.
That's how I've been saying it.
Yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced. He is Bob Marley's son and a reggae artist. Not that surprising, but I didn't know he starred in this movie. I had heard some of his music before, and I had actually seen him on tour before.
Really?
Yeah, he was here in, what year was that? 08, 09, maybe?
Damn.
Yeah.
See, I only knew him from music. And like I've seen him before. I didn't even really get into his music because clearly I don't even know how to say his name. But
right.
Yeah. But I was shocked. I kind of thought his acting was okay for somebody who's not an actor.
Yeah.
I was satisfied.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say this, as far as lead actors in hood movies go.
Yeah.
I liked him way more than Tyrone Turner in Menace to Society.
Really?
Really.
Okay. Well.
It's a quick tangent. Me and my brother, we love that movie, but we hate Tyrone Turner in that movie. Like, I kind of wish they had just been like, fuck it, get Cuba Gooding Jr. He was good in Boys in the Hood.
Period. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Now I do agree that might have been a better choice, though. Yeah.
Yeah. But nah, Tyrone Turner. Every time I see him pop up and stuff, I'm just like, bro, like you have the money. Take an acting class, bro. Just do it. Do it. It'll help everyone out.
See, and I was thinking like, okay, this was low budget, so okay, maybe they couldn't, but I wouldn't agree to be in some shit if I ain't feel like I was giving it. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was sick when I seen Wyclef. The whole thing kind of fell apart for me. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh my god, the fact that Wyclef is in this movie and he's like he plays a musician in the movie too. Like that's the funniest thing.
Yeah,
bro. This man was like, man, get your hands off my guitar, and he goes like, you know how Wyclef can lay his accent on, but he can also pull it back.
He was going in and out. What do you mean?
Right, like he knows, like he can use his accent and be like really thick with it, or you know, sound like I sound over the phone if he needs to.
Okay.
And he was just going back and forth in the same scenes though. It was just
he was in the same motherfucking paragraphs. Yeah. Like I would, because I couldn't understand some of it, so I read the subtitles, but then he say some shit and it's like, no, it's clear as day.
Right.
So I wasn't sure what, and I was like, was he Americanized? Because the character development was terrible, first off. Like, I don't know where none of these niggas came from for the most part.
Yo, the craziest thing about this movie is that it starts off with the main characters as kids. And it gets to a point where I'm like, They could have just started the movie with them as like it could have started with him getting to the airport back in Jamaica and saying, you know, he did a bit. True. He was in Miami. He's trying to get back to Miami. Like Scarface didn't need to show him as a kid, you know?
That's true. You know, I compared this to Scarface too, especially like the last scene where they had broken into his house and everything. I'm like, yeah, it's giving Scarface for sure.
It was for sure giving Scarface until my man's who was supposed to finish the job
didn't finish the job.
Bro, it was like, what are you doing? Like that's the logical place to end the movie.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that it went still further. He went back to rob, what's his name? Lennox, I think. The guy who wound up
he robbed now I gotta look
I
up
forgot his name.
name.
The dude who he took his pinky ring, he like rolled up on him.
Yeah, he what is that character's name?
Here, let me look because
I know at the very end he goes back to get Teddy Bruckshot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, did you notice in the scene where he first takes the ring, it makes like a little sound effect when the ring comes out?
No, I did not notice that.
I noticed that shit.
And then, no, that scene is the scene where I was just kind of rolling my eyes and I'm like, damn, I got to finish it for the podcast. But what the fuck?
Yo, I got to the scene where they're at the jewelry store and I was like, man.
Where they was getting the watches?
Yeah, so, I felt bad that I was like, man, I really told this person who I respect to watch this film.
Shit. Yes, you
and take notes on it.
You put me and my girl through that because she was falling asleep. She was like, shit, I don't know what the hell going on. So then I turned on the subtitles. Then she like, I still don't really know what the hell going on.
It's a movie just like Belly. It doesn't really care about its story. It's just a collection of scenes where niggas get shot and asses and titties are out.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, but that scene in particular, kind of, I was cracking the fuck up. I'm not gonna lie, because I was just like, how you got? What do you have? Like 12 people around him? How you got all these niggas? What's the point of these niggas if they still gonna choke you up, take your pinky ring, and what? Half of your money? He said half of what you got is mine.
Yeah.
And also, how did you not think that nigga was gonna come back to try to get you too? Because like, I would be looking over my shoulder for the rest of my life if I ever did that to anybody. You embarrassed the fuck out of this man in front of 12 people who I don't even know what the point of it was. Like I said, like
yeah. You gonna rob Teddy Bruckshot and then expect that things are gonna be fine. And it's not like you went to a different place. Like no, you went to Miami, robbed him, robbed a bunch of other motherfuckers, and stayed in Miami.
That's true. Yeah. If he would have just eloped, it would have been smarter. I would have maybe respected it just a tad bit more. But
before I get too far, I want to shout out some other people who are in the movie. Mostly just Spragga Benz. He is a Jamaican dancehall DJ. We talked about Louis Rankin, who was also in Belly, who also does dancehall music. Paul Campbell is pretty famous. Wyclef, you know, we all know who Wyclef is. But I will say, for a cast that is this big, I had not really heard of most of these people.
No, me neither. Like I'm going through, I was following along with you reading their names, and I'm like I said, most of them don't even have pictures.
Right.
So except Wyclef and Paul Campbell, the only ones who have pictures on here.
And then Jabba has pictures. He plays Dangles, and I don't know
DJ Khaled.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really funny.
His role was pointless. It's like
it was super pointless because it was just like. It was funny to see him, right? Like, it was really funny to just see him young and before anyone had a reason to know who he is. But he was in the one scene. I don't think he showed up. Yeah, I don't think he showed up again.
And again, just useless. Like, he's a bodyguard, but they still ran up on Wyclef and said what the fuck they had to say and got close enough to hurt this nigga.
Got close to him and his son.
And DJ Khaled, did he say anything? I don't even think he had any lines.
I think he said something. I think he said something like, don't try. Like he said something like when he grabbed his gun. Okay, but I don't remember him saying anything that impactful.
The acting presence clearly was not there because I ain't hear that shit.
Yeah, this is before that nigga got bold.
Clearly.
Yeah, so I'm gonna run through things that I did find because we've just been shitting on the movie.
Okay,
let me run through a few things that I did like about the movie. The music is fire. The music in the movie is fire. Like I'm not a huge reggae guy.
No, but I agree though. There was times where I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm shaking and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, there's some needle drops in here that were actually working really well.
But they're musicians. Like, I was not surprised by that at all, except for the last song in the closing scene. I don't know how we got there. It was more mellow, more sad and shit. And I'm just like...
It didn't feel like it didn't give me the feeling that I got watching the final scene.
But that's what I'm saying. not only did it not fit, I feel like if the soundtrack was, if they were like selling the soundtrack or something like that, that one doesn't fit. Like that one song would make me mad and be like, why is this here,
Especially because it's at the end,
That's the last impression that we're left with.
Right. And so it's not the last song on the soundtrack because there is songs that play through the credits.
There's the credits? Okay.
But
gotcha.
The fact that like that's the last song we hear while we're watching the movie. Yeah.
I just remember saying, what the fuck? Like when it was going on.
Yeah. I also, early on in the movie, even though I think they probably should have cut the part of them being kids just for pacing reasons, the cinematography in that part of the movie is like really on point.
It was.
It's almost like they had a different person shooting that part of the movie.
They probably, yeah.
I mean, they might have, yeah.
I was just about to say, I would have fired whoever the fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't have that many positives. I literally have 4 fucking dots here. The bathroom shooting scene in the club had me on the floor laughing my ass off. I was like, this is so stupid.
I was about to say, so that was one of your positives though?
Yeah, because it was so bad that it was funny. And there's other moments in the movie that are goofy, but they're like distracting goofy. Like that was like the kind of goofy that we love on this podcast. Like, oh, this is just not well made. This is funny as fuck.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, if you're a real hood nigga and you like credible with that, you don't go in the bathroom alone. It's not
right.
Yeah.
Especially not. I mean, you go to the bathroom, go to the urinal, you're facing away from the door, like all of the things you're not supposed to do.
Exactly. So that one was, I don't know, it like the movie kind of lost its credibility with that, with the scene where they walked in on all the guys and took his pinky ring and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I would start to believe in it a little bit and then it just falls short and I'm like, damn, nope.
Yeah, there's a thing where it's like, I don't know if, this happens a lot in low budget filmmaking, right? Like you shoot something that as you're shooting it, you're like, man, we're really doing the best with what we have. I feel great about this. And then it just doesn't look great because, you don't have a lot to work with. There are scenes in here where I'm like, I don't know if they thought this looked cool or if they knew what they were making was pure shit.
Which scene made you think that? Or
most of the shooting scenes, specifically the motorcycle shooting scene.
The motorcycle shooting scene. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I played that one back, and I forgot what you call it in film, where it doesn't match. Like one scene doesn't match the other.
Yeah, it's a lot of continuity errors.
Okay, it's a lot of continuity.
There's several.
Because I was like, this bitch was shot like 7 times in one, and then I go forward, and I'm like, why she don't have as many bullet holes? It's just that one was terrible. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's like we could nitpick at this all day, but it's like. The core tenets are I couldn't understand what the fuck anyone was saying. Like, even with subtitles, the thing with subtitles is like I'm trying to match what I'm hearing and the very little bit of Jamaican slang that I already know with what the subtitles say. And I'm like, yo, this shit does not match.
Yeah. And we were talking about that. Like, I would read it, I would hear it sometime clearly, especially like when Wyclef was talking. I'm like, okay, he's speaking clearly. And the subtitles still don't match.
Right. So. And I'm like, how the hell do you misinterpret like perfectly spoken English?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and there was a little bit of slang that I didn't really understand. Like, I know I've heard blood clot, didn't know what it was like in relevance to English. So I heard that it's like fuck.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
It's like a generic swear word.
Gotcha. Okay.
At least that's how I've always understood it. And, let us know if we're wrong about that. But the way that they were using it, I was like, oh yeah, it just fits with what I already know.
Right.
But there were a couple things like editing wise, like that choppy.
I hated the transitions. I hated the transitions. Not gonna lie.
It was so distracting, right?
It was distracting for it to be made in 20. Wait, hold on. It was 2002, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that it was very distracting, and a little disappointing, but I know that it was a low budget film, so it's like. I don't know. I feel like if it's going to be low budget, there's better ways to do that shit, though.
There's better ways to use your budget, right?
There's better ways to use your already limited budget, yes.
Like hire a real editor. Like, yeah. Because there is some stuff in there where I'm like, okay, I can forgive not great acting. You're using musicians.
Exactly.
I can forgive some wonky dialogue. Like, you're writing, producing, and directing. Like, okay, that's a lot of things to take on. Mm-hmm. But what I can't forgive is, like, if you're making a movie about crime and about like a rise to the top, there's no real rise. Like they get to Miami, they rob three different drug dealers, all of a sudden he's in a mansion.
Yeah, and I felt like I didn't really understand how they made that hump either, and I didn't even understand whose mansion it was that they were in the first time at first, and I was just like, what? I don't know. Like, I know Wayne, he used to extort everybody, so his money made sense a little bit more. You know, he said he was like kidnapping politicians or something like that.
Yeah, like he was kidnapping people's children and shit.
He's doing real shit that deserves a couple $1 million, I'm sure. So
right.
Yeah.
But as far as the other characters, it's like okay,
Biggs, how he get the mansion?
Right, like you're ripping and running, but like you're getting cash. You're not getting like millions and millions every time. Like there was the one dude that the dude who was in his underwear. I don't know if he even had a name.
The dude in his underwear. When?
Yeah, when they busted in dude's house, the dude who was wearing his boxers, they taped his mouth.
Yeah. Oh, him.
Did he have a name?
I don't think he did. He was just a nigga that was robbing.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that scene, and it's like, okay, they found a fuck ton of money at one time. But all the other times,
it didn't make as much sense at all. Yeah.
No, like they were getting like maybe 20 G's at a time in some of those other robberies. Like
that's true. That's not gonna get you a mansion. And then then I think about when they were in the store getting the watches, and it was like $67,000. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, y'all gonna pay $67,000? Like, you're supposed to be low key. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
And that was another thing that I was talking about. So, like, I'm a fan of character development. I love characters with like emotional depth and like a complex, some type of real human thing,
So you must have been struggling watching this shit.
Nigga, what? I'm like, how do we get here? Because, like, okay, so with Biggs, it seemed like to me that they were kind of leading up for him to be like, more of a do-gooder, or for him to like make a sharp left turn when something goes wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he was already talking about how, we need to be low key. When he first reconnected with Wayne and he was talking to him, he's like, oh, y'all doing that? Y'all flashy. He was talking down on it as if he was above it. So I thought, okay, maybe we're leading it up for him to rise above, for him to be like, I don't want to do this shit anymore, whatever. Right. But I feel like that shift is never made.
Never made at all. Like,
never.
Not like he in the very same scene that he's talking to them about, man, me and my girl are gonna go to LA. By the way, quick tangent. That girl has fucking 4 scenes in the whole movie. Like,
first of all, where did she come from? He bought her, didn't he? Like, she was leaning in the window, and next thing I know, she was going shopping with them.
So, based on how they talked, he already knew her from his previous time in Miami.
Okay.
But it made it seem like she was just like a hooker or something. Like, it didn't seem like that was his girl.
Oh, okay. See, right. I wasn't sure. I thought she was becoming his girl. Like when he was in the robe talking about, oh, we need to just go on a trip, go to LA, kind of chill out, cool down.
That's what I'm saying. Like in that scene, it's like, oh, that's his girl now. Before it was like, it's just some girl he's hanging out with.
Well, that's real. And then they had the whole passionate, quote unquote, sex scene in the shower.
Hey, if I ever star in a movie, I need to start making music just so they can play my song during my sex scene.
Listen, because I'm like, that shit was terrible. But for me, it was the, what do you call it? Like when it would make I don't know what to call it, where they stop motioned it, like it would.
Yeah, the editing, like it was like
the editing was choppy and weird. And I'm like,
didn't look sexy at all.
For a sex scene, it was so choppy. It's supposed to be more fluid, smooth,
right.
I felt like it wasn't giving any of that.
It was like disorienting in a way that doesn't work for a sex scene.
Yeah,
like it's one thing to be like avant-garde with your sex scene and like do weird shit.
We've seen that done successfully.
We've seen it done successfully and unsuccessfully, right?
Period.
But it doesn't even seem like that's what they were trying to do. Like it seems like they were like, it's gonna look hot. All right. We gonna have one shot where her ass is bouncing, and we gonna move the camera up like this, and we gonna have another shot that just darts across real fast, and then we gonna throw in some edits like the screen flare. And I was like, this doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. And didn't they do the black and white too, where it would freeze and black? Yeah. So the black and white, I didn't like that either, but I did understand that in the beginning of the movie, the opening scene where they showed them where they're going to be at the end of the movie.
Right.
Okay. So I'm like, okay, it goes black and white. That means he's there. That's what I was assuming,
Right.
But for the sex scene, I'm like, why y'all bring that back at this weird time? I don't know.
I also gotta say, like, they caught the drop on him. Like they had the drop on him. They had him in his place, comfortable with his niggas, comfortable with his girl, just
in his
chilling
robe,
there.
yeah,
right. and they still got murked. Like all of them died.
See, and that's something that I learned from the movie for real. Like, okay, if you a real Shotta, you only need like 2 of them for real. Because if the 12 niggas at that table would have just had one Wayne, you know, one Biggs, maybe they wouldn't have got jumped the way that they did. You know what I mean?
Or a nigga at the door.
Or a nigga at the door to stop you from even coming in. You right.
Right. Like, it's right. So many things about crime that I've learned, and you can hear it in my voice. I'm a private school nigga. I don't know shit about, the only things I know about organized crime come from Jay-Z albums, watching The Wire, and gangsta movies, right?
Okay.
Even I was like, come on, son. This is how you
Bryce, you was sitting over there like, I could have did better than this.
I was like, y'all needed one nigga to strategize. They needed a white intern with fresh eyes to be like, hold on a second, guys. I don't think this plan's gonna work.
No, for real though. And that's the funny thing, because like, okay, I have family like that, yeah, but I'm not about that life. I'm not that type of person, you know?
Right.
I'm an artiste. But I definitely was watching it like, I could have consulted on this. I could have gave them a couple of pointers. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. Like, you know, if you're gonna rob somebody, maybe wear a mask.
Maybe.
And if you really are just like mask off with it, like you
maybe
Omar
you
or
should
some
leave
shit.
or something after, you know?
Like,
to
don't
stay in the same
be
place.
out in public flashy.
And then y'all still, like, their circle seemed kind of tight. Like, everybody knew everybody. Even the people who didn't fuck with each other. Like, okay, well, they know where you gonna be, when you gonna be there. That's a problem for me. Why did they know, oh, he gonna be here any day after this time? Like, a lot of people was getting got at they like signature spots, and I'm just like,
people were not like getting set up on like in public. Like, they were like, no, this is just where we be at. This is the home.
We could just get them there. Yeah.
And it's like, at a certain point, I guess, you know, there's the whole no honor amongst thieves thing, but god damn, like they were not good criminals.
Not at all. Yeah.
Like they were ruthless enough to do what they were doing, but they didn't think shit through.
That's true. They had a lot of potential.
And it wasn't just like the main characters. It was like none of the criminals were thinking about what could happen. Like, I don't know if the character had a first name, but the white Mr. Anderson dude.
Oh yeah, him. He was kind of dumb, giving himself away type shit.
Like on the phone, not even waiting to hear a voice.
Not even waiting to hear a voice killed me. But you know what? Was he white? Because that was definitely a white man thing to do.
I mean, like the actor Munar Zaka. I don't know where that's from. Yeah, I don't know where he's from.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, his page don't even say nothing. So
okay. Well, I was just judging off of complexion, and I'm just like, I don't know. I just felt like he could have saved his own life in a way. And then the visa thing, like, how did you not know that was a setup? Are you serious?
Bro.
You know who you talking to? You tried to get this nigga off because you knew he was a problem, and now you really think that you just gonna give him the visas and everything's gonna be fine? Like,
right? Like, you tried to murk him, bro. Like,
and I thought maybe I don't know why I thought this, but I was hoping maybe Mr. Anderson got something up his sleeve. Maybe he got somebody watching him. Maybe because he seemed like he was paranoid as fuck in the office.
Right.
So I'm like, nah, I'm sure he wouldn't just meet them in an isolated parking lot.
And that's exactly what the fuck he did.
Exactly. But, you know, I respected them for letting the secretary go. I thought they was going to off her, too, just because she saw everything. Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah. So the shot lingers of her on the ground. I was like, please do not back up and hit this woman.
Yeah. Where she was, like, rolling on the ground crazy.
I was like, please do not back up and hit this girl. Because it's not supposed to be funny, but I would have laughed. Because I'm like, I'm sure it would look goofy.
I told you I was cracking up for most of it, but you know I am gonna give the flowers where the flowers are due. So like,
yes, please do.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I've said anything positive about it yet, because that was my overall like general thoughts. You know, I'm just like, it's a joke, you know. But I think what got me about this movie is the same thing that gets me about like most hood movies, and that's the coming from nothing, wanting something, getting something. Like that just in and of itself is a simple concept that's very relatable to this day. If not more so because of the recession we in. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, okay, they were like, I don't know how old they were. They didn't make it clear. Kids? Yeah, as kids, yeah. I think they were like 10 or something.
They were like probably 10 or 11 or something like that.
Young as fuck, yeah. So I'm like, okay, if I was 10 and I was living how they're living and everything, they clearly didn't have any parental structure for real. Because even the auntie, Big's auntie, she seemed like she knew something was up. You know, she's suspicious of them.
She never checked them.
No, she never checked them. She busy. You know, she's distracted. She working hard, and they're clearly in poverty. So that's a distraction in itself. So I'm like, okay, if I was growing up like that, and then I seen the truck driver with the wad of money, he got the nerve to say he got $100,000, no protection. Like,
yeah,
would you not be tempted if that's all you know? You know.
Right, and there's a relatability to that. And that's the fucked up part is like, for the sake of the rest of the movie, that part needs to be cut. Because it's just like, or at least
the part where they rob him in the room.
No, just like the part with them being kids, it makes you think you're about to watch one movie that you don't end up getting.
I completely agree, though.
Yeah.
Because like I said, if there's no development, you could have just started when y'all was 35 or however old they were.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like seeing them as kids didn't give us a whole lot of insight, because I could have probably guessed that shit if you would have just started it from when he was getting deported.
Right. And there's the whole thing is like, okay, they're cousins. One of them, when they're younger, he has that whole thing about like, do you think I'm a bad person? Like, do you think I'm just a bad kid?
Yeah.
Like, none of that development pans out. Like, it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm cool with movies that don't necessarily tie everything together, but like, it just seems like that was an open slam dunk that they didn't really do anything with until he died, and then it showed the little clip of them as kids. It's like, oh, that's sad. His cousin died, but like, it doesn't do shit,
It doesn't tie up anything for me. You're right.
Right. It's because like, we don't see them go on any sort of like character arc.
We really don't. The only thing that the flashback, when Wayne was dying, the only thing that the flashback did for me was just like revalidate or re-emphasize the connection that they had. They knew each other since they were kids, and it's meant to make it sadder, Right. But that's literally all I got from that shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I also, because I'm thinking about the shooting scene, how goofy the fuck it
some
looked.
of them were, yeah.
Some of that shit looks so, like the shooting in the house. So
at the end,
yeah, the girl whose name, I'll be honest, I don't remember her name.
Oh, the girl who was in the robe.
Yeah, her name.
Did you even say her name?
Yeah, she got a name. Her name. Hold up, Raquel.
Raquel's okay.
And the actress that played her is just San on IMDb, so that's funny. But when Raquel is just sitting there like covering up, it's like, you didn't think to tell this bitch to get down?
I'm like, he didn't grab her. He jumped behind the couch.
Bro, it's like, you didn't think, like, all these gangsters are shooting. Let me get as low as, like, let me get out the way.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, she not about that life. She ain't know nothing about it, I'm sure.
Right.
So I feel like it was up to him to tell her to duck or something. Like, we thought that was going to be your girlfriend, nigga. You just let her get shot.
And then when she gets shot, like,
he
the
don't even
camera lingers. Yeah, the camera will linger on her for a second. And then he doesn't give a fuck.
Straight to Wayne. He didn't even look back at her. I was just like, fuck, okay.
Yeah.
That's some cold-blooded shit.
And if there is a shot of him, like, looking at her or something, it's so quick that I didn't notice it. Right?
I don't think it was there, Bryce. I really don't think it was there.
I'm glad I'm not crazy, because I'm like, I don't think he did shit for her,
because like you said, the camera lingered on her, so that was her goodbye, her rest in peace moment, but like, he didn't get that to her at all.
Nah. And I want to I want to stop shitting on the movie, but one of the things we do on this show is we pick our best performance, and this was probably the hardest one to pick.
I don't think so.
It was hard for me to pick because there aren't many good performances. Like, there's not that many people who steal a scene in a good way.
Really? You didn't think Paul Campbell? I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, he's the best actor in the movie,
but just he's like the lesser of two evils type shit. You didn't think he was that great?
Yeah, it's like they didn't give him enough to do. I think.
I
there
think so
are
too.
moments where I'm like, oh, he's about to get, oh, no, next scene. Okay, we're moving on. All right.
And that's what I was about to say. Like, okay, specifically when he was smoking the cigarette and it looked like his hand, but then he was holding somebody's arm, I'm like, oh, he crazy. And then he wrote down the number 33. And I'm like, okay, that didn't make sense to me until he killed the next guy and wrote down number 34. I'm like, oh, he's the one that's going to crack. They probably going to have to turn on him. He going to be the nigga getting out of hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like they never gave him that moment to do that. Like,
they never did.
They never did. And I didn't like his exit either. It was just kind of, I don't feel like it really played homage to him.
It was like he got shot and was like relatively fine for someone who got shot in the gut.
Well, yeah.
Like, the fact that he was able to kill 2 more people after that and assist him in killing another. It's like, come on, dog. Like, this man might be the Terminator. And then he gets to the hospital. He's up. He's kind of sort of fine. And then they're like, I think we've lost him already. I was like,
but
what?
His eyes was all like, it was 2 seconds after he had just like looked at Biggs and shit. I'm just like, he died already. We looking at him. I don't think he is.
Even if he was dying in that moment, like, they would have tried to revive him. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I heard them yell like, "Oh, we lost him," and then Biggs was just like, "Fuck," But I honestly feel like they could have just left that scene out. I feel like the scene would have been more dramatic if Biggs would have left him at the house. Like if they would have did they little like, hold on, brother, blah, 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 and then he just left. I think that would have been a little bit more graceful than like just wasting time driving to the hospital for a movie that don't have a good budget. I just felt like they was utilizing that shit for just the wrong things.
I literally wrote that down. I said they didn't use their budget well.
They didn't, yeah.
They really didn't.
Yeah.
I gave my best performance award though to Louis Rankin, who played Teddy Bruckshot, because he's one of the few people that had like charisma while he was on screen. Like he's supposed to be playing a big time drug dealer,
but he did. I can admit that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just good to see him in a movie that's not Belly.
That's real. Mm-hmm.
I almost gave it to our main guy, Kamani Marley, but he was just not terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like his presence just could have been a little bit more charismatic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know him at all, granted, so I don't know if that's like completely different from how he acts on a regular basis, and maybe that was good acting for him. I don't know.
Right.
But for me, I felt like it was kind of like, I don't know, when I looked at like which one was the best performance, I immediately thought of Paul Campbell for some reason. Like, yeah. And I think that, I'm sorry, what did you say his name was? The one that you thought was the best?
His character is the actor.
The actor.
Louis Rankin.
Okay, so I thought Louis Rankin did a great job though. And I don't know why I didn't think of him immediately. Like
it's because he's not in that much of the movie, like really. Like he gets robbed.
He gets killed.
He sets up on somebody else. He puts the hit out, and then he gets killed. Like it's like he's in 4 or 5 scenes, like max. He's really not in that much of the movie. But because Kimani, who would have gotten the award by default, I guess, there are moments where I'm like, yeah, bro, you're not emoting, and it's cool. Like you're not a real actor. I get it.
Yeah.
So
but that's really apparent. Like I think. Yeah.
And it's like if my song got played in a movie where I was fucking during the scene it's playing, like I would have been going all out. I'd have been so extra in that fucking scene. I'd have been like, I've been screaming my own lyrics and shit in the shower.
He said this has to be something. There has to be something. I get it.
Right, I would have been going so extra. I've been like, hey, yo, director, I'm thinking of trying this shit in this scene.
Nah, we saw it fell fucking flat.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have a best line in the movie?
I mean, I like the last line where he was just like, well, what do you want from me? When Biggs went to,
all my shit?
You took everything from me. You done killed my woman. Like, da da da. And I'm just like, damn, he did take everything. He's like, I want your soul. Your soul. I'm just like, damn. Okay. But then I also like when they was yelling, win. Mr. Anderson was just like, win. Like, I'm like, if you don't answer this man, like, this is just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit was funny. I had the, the end, like, what else can you take from me? Your soul. Bah.
That's what the one you said too?
I had that one written, but the one that I actually think was the best was when, like a scene before that, when he's in the house and the guy's like, die. He's like, yeah, but not before you, bitch. And then he shoots
Period.
I was like, low key, that is a fucking bar. Like that's
real. Like, that's real. I just knew that nigga was gonna take them out though, or at least injure them. You know what I mean?
Right. Like he didn't impede Biggs at all.
I mean, nobody did.
Hit.
Nothing.
Biggs didn't like.
He didn't get shot. He didn't get impaired at all.
He didn't get hit at all.
But I forgot because he had so much blood on him. But that was Wayne's blood.
Right.
And then
it was Wayne's blood, and then
Mad Max.
Yeah, Max's blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I had a hard. So normally when I do movies, I'll write down like 7, 8 lines and just pick. When I'm reading them back, pick through those. I only wrote 3 down here.
Well, I only had the 2 because I didn't understand half the shit they were saying. I told you so.
So when he's in the airport, the security guy says, you're here to do all this bad shit, and then he ends it with, in all type of fuckery. And I wrote that down because I love how it sounded.
That was good.
Yeah, but other than that, no, like but not before you, bitch. That was the one I was like, that's the bar.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was watching the subtitles, like, I don't know if I'm going to write what the subtitle says or what they are saying. And that was like the hardest thing I had to do. Is like, I couldn't, there were so many lines where I'm like, I don't think you said anything that interesting. Like, but I don't know what the fuck you said.
Yeah.
I have
Period.
no idea.
Period.
So we do a segment on here, what would the reboot or sequel be? But there is a sequel to Shottas.
There is?
Yeah, there's a Shottas Part 2.
Holy shit.
And it came out in... Now I gotta Google that shit.
Who gave him more money to make a movie? That's what I want to know. I ain't gonna lie.
Shottas 2
Or Seth didn't do it?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Because I'm like, it's not on his IMDb.
Oh, I don't know if it is come out yet. But
okay,
no, it's out. It came out in what year did it come in? I see what year ended up on Amazon. I don't know what year it actually came out though.
Wait, it's just called Shottas 2 or
yeah. Shottas 2.
I don't even see it. I'm looking on IMDb. Bro, for real.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, well,
I assume even lower budget than this one.
Because I was gonna be funny when I read that. I was just like, I think the sequel will not exist because it don't need to. This one I could have done without, to be real with you. But you know,
yeah, I feel there's only been a couple times where I feel guilty about having people watch shit for this podcast.
This was one of those times.
Yeah. We did Johnson Family Vacation earlier this season.
You didn't really?
Well, here's the thing. Like, here's what upset me because like I saw the movie when I was like 10. Maybe 9 or 10, whatever year it came out, I saw it.
Same.
I was like, I remember the movie not being anything like amazing, but I was a kid. It's probably a fine enough kid movie.
Yeah.
Then we watched it, and that movie also has a really low Rotten Tomato score. And I was like, oof, this is not it. Because Cedric the Entertainer is playing like a Ben Carson type of dude. Like,
really?
Like not like overtly Republican, but just like very like against a lot of things that we would typically think of as like nigga shit. It's like, man, you are so boring. I see why your wife is separated from you.
See, I'm like, I actually watched it the year it came out too, which was 2004. Long ass time ago. But I was a big fan of Little Bow Wow at the time. And then Solange was in it too, wasn't she?
Mm-hmm, yep.
I thought she was fine as fuck. And I also thought Cedric was funny. It was enough incentive for me to go see it. But I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember enough to even judge it as an adult. I feel like I really have to watch it as an adult.
I did, and don't do that shit. Well, don't do that shit.
It got a 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah, don't do that IMDb. Shit sober. I'll say that.
Okay.
Like, had I been drunk and watched it, I'd have had a great time.
I was just about to say, I feel like that's the wave. That's the move.
That's what you got to do. But yeah, this movie's another one where I'm like, yeah, probably shouldn't have. I did this sober, and that was a terrible choice. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Shottas. I don't know what the sequel entails, but if I was to guess, a lot of niggas get shot. There's a lot of weird editing choices, and there's a lot of asses shaking on screen. Period.
And the soundtrack is good up until the last song, for the most part.
If the sequel, oh my God, if the soundtrack is fire up until the end again, I don't know what I would do.
It's like you learned nothing. I'm interested to see the second one just to see, did they progress? I don't think they did, because why the hell isn't this listed? I don't know. That was like, we gave y'all motherfuckers a second chance. That was our fault.
This shit has been blacklisted, bro.
For real.
They took this stuff off the internet. But I wanted to give additional flowers to Stephen Marley, the half-brother of Kamani, another son of Bob Marley. He did a great job with the music in this movie. I don't know how much of the scoring he did. I just know he's the one who like picked the songs that would be the needle drop. So kudos to you, Stephen Marley. And I can't say kudos to too many other people involved with this film, but good job for you. And I mean, those are my thoughts on Shottas. Any last words?
Nah, like I said, I'm gonna leave it on a positive note. Relatability. It gives us what all hood movies give us, with the extra humor. That's about it.
Yes. And for Movies at 2 a.m., I'm Bryce.
And this is Arrielle.
Peace.